And for a little baby, there's a horrible diagnosis. If you have a little baby, it's called failure to thrive. There's a horrible diagnosis called FTT that means they're not getting enough nourishment, right? And maybe they're born preemie, maybe there's just something going on. I want to say this right up front. Part of the joys and sorrows of all these things of babies that have been going on of late is that my niece had a baby at 27 weeks out in the Fresno, California area, and baby Addie still there, still doing good, still fine. But if her heart doesn't close up, there's some things when you're born that preemie. She was 2 pounds something. If her heart doesn't close up, they're going to have to go to surgery. So please pray for baby Addie for me and my niece Kelly and her husband John. I mean, that's what you don't know. And if you've got failure to thrive as a child, it means that you're not getting enough nourishment and you're not able to grow up. So let me ask you this question. Does your soul have FTT? Does your soul have failure to thrive? Jesus said it this way. Listen, a farmer went out to sow his seeds, and as he was scattering some seed, some of it fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. All right? Part of the reason you might have failure to thrive in your soul is because you have a hard soul. Farmer goes out, he sows a seed, everything's great, but it's on the path, it's on the hard soil, and it's not going to grow. If you just stare at this for a minute, you will realize that it's going to be hard to grow anything there. In Israel, I've been over where Jesus is talking about, it's hard to grow things there. I was just in California. They're in the middle of a drought. It's hard to grow things when your path, when the seed is falling on the path that looks like this. And what Jesus is saying is that if you have failure to thrive in your soul, it may be because you have a closed mind. At some point, you just said, you know what, I don't care what God says, I don't care about God's word, the seed is just bouncing off and it's going away. And a lot of people are like that. What makes your soil hard? What makes your soul hard? Well, a couple of things. Fear, for one thing. I'm afraid of what God might want to do with my soul, so I've packed it down and it's very hard and all the seeds just bounce off of me. One of the great things Casey said, go back and listen to the sermon last week if you didn't. One of the great things he said was the slavery we know often feels better than the freedom of God that we don't. He was talking about the children of Israel and how they said, we'd rather go back to Egypt. We were in slavery, but at least we knew what was going on. We're afraid of what God might do, all right? The second thing could be pride. It could be, you know what? My life's fine. Why do I need God? I've got things going on. I got a decent life. I got a decent family. All my things are going. I don't really need any help. I don't need God's help at all. And the third one I would say would be disappointment. And I would say probably this is the thing that wraps up all of the reason why I meet people from time to time who just have a hard soul. They just don't want to have anything to do with God. Fastest growing religious group in the United States of America right now is the Nonses, the Nuns. Don't believe in anything. And in a lot of cases, it's my kids' generation, it's the younger generations who are saying, you know what, I thought maybe there was a God, but God's disappointed me. And maybe that's you. God's disappointed me. He hasn't given me what I thought I wanted, what he should have given me. He hasn't answered my prayers. I don't want anything to do with him. Or there's a disappointment with other Christians or a church or whatever, and they've been hurt by something. And I think even the fear and the pride, I think a lot of hard soil is about the fact that, one time my soul was open, and it's just not anymore because things just didn't work out the way that they should have. They become burned and bitter. Jesus explains the parable later on to the disciples, and he says, these people are like seeds sown along the path where the word is sown, and as soon as they hear it, Satan is the birds. He comes and he snatches the word away that was sown in them. If you don't have an open heart, it's going to lay there. The seed, we'll keep throwing it, but the seed is going to lay there and it's going to get snatched away. It's not going to take root. It's not going to do you any good. And it's okay. If you're listening to me right now, if you're here right now and you just showed up because somebody drugged you here or whatever, and you're like, yeah, I'm kind of being protective of this soul right now. It's okay. We're going to keep throwing seed at you, and God is going to keep throwing seed at you. And I hope and I pray that at some point there'll be a crack it'll go into, there'll be enough nourishment, enough water that something's going to happen. That's my prayer.